So if you're in foreclosure, you're being contacted by people who want to buy your home, people who are realtors, and the alt financing bros. I'm going to warn you about the alt financing bros right now. If you want to protect your assets in the future or your income, you don't want to jeopardize your loans with the bank for your due on sale clause. Arguably, if you use one of these alt financing bro structures where you put the property in a land trust or a trust, and then you change the beneficiary over to them to avoid the due on sale clause, that might be taking you out of your anti-deficiency protections. So instead of, if you, let's say, did a foreclosure or properly negotiated short sale, you'd owe the bank nothing. You now are on the risk that if this alt financing bro, if properties go down, they're not going to want to keep paying. If rents go down, they're not going to be able to keep paying. You could sell to an alt finance bro who's going to mess you up 2, 3, 4 years from now if the market keeps going down, rather than dealing with it today. Now, they have all sorts of claims about how they're going to get out. 3 of the people who called me all said, well, they're going to turn into a group home. That's the strategy they tell you. And then maybe they're even saying they'll share commissions, but that rarely works out. And again, I don't think anybody who wants to protect their assets and their future is going to want their credit to be hammered at an indeterminate time in the future when they're rebuilding, or maybe be responsible for the deficiency to the banks, especially if the market keeps going down. So cross those alt financing guys off your list, unless they're offering you a big amount of money. You're not going to need credit in the future. You're going to be judgment proof, and still I'd say you should have an attorney analyze it. And if someone's paying you a big amount of money, they're probably got a sucker who, if they're suckering the person giving you a big amount of money, they're probably also doing the same to you. So what would you do? Well, if you have asset, like sometimes all financing bros are coming after you because you have a 3% loan, but you don't have a lot of equity, or you have less than any equity. Sometimes they're seeing a lot of equity there, and any deal they can offer you is going to be good for them. Well, I say, look, AB 2424 has been set up to buy you more time. So if, let's say you want to stay in the property till the end of the foreclosure timeline. I mean, you had the 4 months from the federal one, then you have 90 days approximately from if the bank's setting the minimums for your notice of default, and then you're going to get a notice of sale, and then it could happen in 21 days. I don't think you want to wait much longer to do anything than about when the notice of sale comes down, just because everything gets more expensive working with lawyers. Everything gets more tricky. Communicating with the lenders. If you're going to stop a foreclosure with the trustee, you want to do it on the notice of sale date or earlier, not later, in my opinion, in my experience, because things happen. All of a sudden, packages get lost. They tell you 3 or 4 days later, I don't see the package. Oh, it's lost. Like, you don't want to deal with that if you've got an option to avoid a foreclosure. Most people eventually do not want that foreclosure if they can do better. And most people can do better. So leverage the law, slow the process down, discuss with an attorney whether you should sort of cash buyers, whether you should get multiple cash buyers competing against each other. I've seen the initial cash buyer come up over 6 figures when you get 3 or 4 people competing. Now, it's less likely to happen in this market, but you can still get much better offers. But if you get 45 or 90 days, you don't need to be on a rush. You can do a much more, you can make sure you're getting full price offers given our market right now. So plenty of time utilizing the law. If you'd like to find out more, my name's John McConnin. I'm a real estate attorney and a broker. I founded UpsideDownRealEstate.com. I've done hundreds of short sales. The Association of Realtors, California one, had me train realtors on how to do list and negotiate short sales. I've advised people on strategic defaults, dozens and dozens back in the day. Back then we could do short payoffs. I haven't seen that. I've done deed and lieus already this year. And the deed in lieu, well, my client was current, so it wasn't damaging to her credit. The bank said they'd accept it. So I have all sorts of options that I can go over with you for free. You just have to fill out the form, and I don't know where you're seeing this, but eventually you got to fill out your contact information. Then, if you really want a full upside down analysis, I'm going to ask you questions to determine whether you have a recourse loan, whether you have exposure to taxes, what we can do to minimize your debt, like if you have any causes of action to dispute the debt. We're going to put that all together. I'll tell you what I see as your exposures, and then I'll tell you what your options are, and we'll even sequence them for the most leverage. Now, the longer you wait to find out, the fewer options you're going to have. But I can also tell you, I know if you've waited until foreclosure and 4 months, you're enjoying not moving out soon. That's part of our plan. I mean, we can accommodate that, and you can actually be more in control when you know what's going on. So fill out the form. My team will send you a text to book in our calendar, or we'll call you and talk to you about setting up a time. We'll get your data. I will personally review it, and then we'll talk. Thanks. My name's John McConnin. Good luck.